Hi, everyone. I am Amy Zellmer from Faces of TBI, and welcome back to the Brain Health Online Summit training series. I myself am a survivor from a fall on the ice in February of 2014. And myself, along with Dr. Jeremy Schmo from Minnesota Functional Neurology, we saw a huge need in the brain injury community for more education and training on alternative healthcare methods and modalities for those suffering from the lingering effects of brain injury. So our goal with this summit is to help educate and bring awareness to this invisible injury that affects 2.8 million Americans each year and is the leading cause of death and disability in the world. So each day during the summit, you are going to hear from 4 to 5 speakers, and they're either going to share their experience working with brain injury patients or their experience of living with a brain injury. So today, I am here with Kyla Pearce, and Kyla has blended her expertise as a yoga teacher, researcher, and caregiver to develop the Love Your Brain Foundation's Fundamentals series, a TBI-focused yoga curriculum. It integrates gentle yoga, meditation, breathing, and psychoeducation. Kyla has designed Love Your Brain's 19-hour training to equip yoga teachers and clinicians with the knowledge and skills to adapt yoga and meditation for TBI, including physical, cognitive, and social modifications. She has been an invited faculty at several conferences related to using yoga for improving physiological and psychosocial outcomes. She has published her research in brain injury and has also been accepted to present the results at conferences focused on innovative approaches for TBI rehabilitation, including the Williamsburg Brain Injury Conference. To support clinicians to integrate yoga and meditation into their clinical practice, she also leads in-service presentations describing the evidence of using these practices. So thank you for being here, Kyla. I'm so excited to have you on the summit.
Thank you, Amy. It's really an honor for myself and all of Love Your Brain to be able to contribute to the summit. So thank you for the warm introduction and letting us be a part of this.
Yeah, and I am really excited to hear all about what you have to say today because yoga was a huge part of my recovery. And, you know, I'm so passionate about yoga and meditation and breathing and how it really can just help you so much in your recovery. So thank you so much for being here. And today you're going to be talking about the benefits of yoga and meditation for TBI. So I guess maybe why don't you start giving us a little background about how you developed Love Your Brain?
Sure. So some of your audience, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the name Kevin Pearce, but he is my brother-in-law and used to be a professional snowboarder. And right before the 2010 Vancouver Olympics, he suffered a near fatal TBI in a snowboarding accident. And that really put our family in a position of, for the first time, learning what a traumatic brain injury was. That was completely a foreign concept for any of us. And my husband, Adam, who's Kevin's brother, ended up quitting his job and dedicated himself completely to supporting Kevin in his healing process. So we were incredibly fortunate that Kevin is doing very well and is living independently and thriving and has a really meaningful life as now a spokesperson for traumatic brain injury. And one of the things that him and Adam realized was that there was a lot of lack of resources for people affected by TBI and their support people. So together they founded the Love Your Brain Foundation in, I believe, 2012. And at that time, actually, they were deciding what really were going to be the most important focal points for our programming. And this was really the impetus behind our yoga program, as Kevin was experiencing a lot of benefits from yoga and meditation personally, and felt like Love Your Brain would be a really great platform to try and offer these services for people that otherwise wouldn't have access to them. So in a couple years later, we formally launched our yoga program. And that is one of the 3 programs that Love Your Brain offers. We also have a education curriculum to educate youth about the importance of kind of brain healthy choices, and then also a retreat for people affected by TBI.
Yeah.
That's how Love Your Brain started, really a kind of personal family story.
Yeah. And, I was first introduced to Kevin here locally. They showed the premiere screening of The Crash Reel, which was a documentary that had been being filmed. It was originally being filmed to document going to the Olympics, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned into a whole other documentary when he fell during his practice. And if any of you watching haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend watching The Crash Reel, because it really takes you through his whole first year of recovery. I think it's a year. And it really gives you a really good inside look into what the struggles are with traumatic brain injury.
Absolutely. And that was also a big learning for us, is in the creation of the Crash Reel, so many people reached out expressing, this is the first time that I can relate to a story of what it means to have a TBI. This is the first time that I understand my own experience by somebody else really having the courage to vocalize their experience in a public way. So that really served as a way for us to understand the need that was out there for more support.
Mm-hmm. It's similar to me. My first Huffington Post piece was just my story. And I was like, gosh, I hope someone reads it. And here thousands of people read it and reached out to me. So it's just powerful what sharing a story can do.
Totally.
So Kevin personally experienced benefits from yoga and meditation. And so that's kind of how you guys came about to doing the Love Your Brain yoga program?
Yeah, exactly. So this was probably about 4 years after his accident, and was really looking for some sort of physical exercise that could be both, physically empowering and feel a sense of accomplishment, strength building, balance building, but also layer in an element of calm and not being overwhelmed by the tremendous stimulation that can happen if you go to a gym, or some more of those contexts that can be, challenging for people struggling with headaches or light sensitivity. So he ended up finding yoga as both physically and kind of psychologically really beneficial. And we were actually looking to try and align with an organization that was already offering a yoga service program in the United States. So we weren't planning on recreating the wheel. So we were hoping to find someone that was already doing this, and was just really surprised that it wasn't happening, because there's tons of yoga for other clinical populations like breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, or chronic pain. And there was just nothing for traumatic brain injury. So what we decided to do was actually run a pilot study to evaluate more systematically how to adapt these practices in a safe way for people with TBI. So do you want me to describe a little bit about the pilot study? Okay, great. So we collaborated with some researchers at Dartmouth College and decided to invite what ended up being 31 people with brain injury, and allocated to half of them either to an 8-week gentle yoga intervention that had training for teachers in what TBI involved, how to use some modifications to prevent dizziness, and modify poses to prevent headaches, using simple and kind of structured sequences, but in a lot of ways left it really open to the discretion of the teacher to sequence the series. And the idea was, with that half the group that was in the 8-week gentle yoga program, we would, after each class, ask each participant to fill out a survey about what worked and what didn't work. And then the other half of the group was in a waitlist control. So what we did was, we had this qualitative information where after each class we collected information about what people liked, what people didn't like. And then we also assessed before at baseline and then after the series in both groups. They're a measure of quality of life that's specifically designed for people with traumatic brain injury. It's called the Quality of Life After Brain Injury Scale. And this has 6 different domains that look at physical improvements, emotional feelings, social engagement, kind of your future outlook, and found, interestingly, that in the group that participated in our yoga program, there was a significant improvement from baseline to after the series. However, in the group that didn't participate in the yoga group, that waitlisted control group, there was no statistical significance in differences between baseline and post-series. And what was most interesting is those subdomains I was talking about, the 2 that improved the most were the feelings and emotions subdomains. And what those looked at basically was that they found people reported being able to manage negative emotions more effectively before and after the series, and then also felt more optimistic about their future. So what we found qualitatively was a lot of information that then informed our current curriculum, which I can talk about. But then quantitatively, we also found that there were these measurable benefits in terms of people's ability to manage day-to-day challenges and also overall kind of optimism, which was really exciting.
That is exciting. And, one of the challenges with a TBI, well, one of the many, is just like that anxiety and that kind of impending doom feeling, depression, if you will, and alongside the balance, the dizzy, the headaches, the physical limitations, if they've had, more of a physical injury too, there's just so much compounding problems. And this is fascinating, your research study. That's really cool.
Yeah.
They did research on yoga. That's awesome.
And there is actually a small literature that's evaluated yoga and meditation interventions specifically in the TBI population. And most are actually looking at mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, which have more of a meditation, a mindfulness meditation focus, but do include hatha yoga, which is a kind of gentle yoga approach. And those studies, they kind of range in their quality in terms of some don't have control groups and some have very small sample sizes, but generally there have been positive benefits elucidated from these studies in terms of cognition, psychological well-being, working memory. So a lot of also cognitively important changes.
Yeah, when I fell, I dislocated my sternum. I had whiplash. I tore a ton of muscles in my neck and shoulders, and on top of having a brain injury. And I had done yoga since college, and I was about just over a year out from my injury when I was like, I really wish I could do yoga again. And so I asked my yoga instructor if she would come over and work with me one-on-one and help me find some poses that I could do. Because, I couldn't lift my arms much higher than here because of the sternum, and I couldn't do anything, on the floor like a down dog. I couldn't do anything like that. I couldn't do anything with my head tipped because I'd get dizzy. So, we found 5 poses that I could do, and we definitely had to modify them. But it felt so good to do yoga again, just to have that movement back in my body. And gradually, the more I did it, the more I noticed my dizzy imbalance wasn't like limiting me as much. And I was able to start, I finally got back into down dog. And I mean, I can see where it has that really positive effect because you could see progress.
Yeah. You're so lucky that you had a yoga teacher you trusted that was able to support you in finding the right progression, because it's hard, because we have people come to our program who say that they used to be yoga practitioners and gone to a studio and tried to go to a class that Maybe the teacher hadn't had any experience with TBI. So yeah, going into inversions where your head is below your heart can invoke vertigo or dizziness, and yeah. So it can be potentially problematic if you don't have someone that can work with you to do adaptations.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people have this notion of yoga, these big crazy poses, super flexible people. And that's not, I mean, yeah, some people get there, but like people like me, I'll never be able to do those poses, and I don't aspire to. I know my limitations and what I can do. But like going to your local gym and joining a yoga class is probably not what you need to do. There's too many variables there. They don't understand your injury. You're going to feel like you have to try and keep up, and you don't know what's going on. And there's going to be lights. There's going to be people talking. There might be music, a whole array of things could be going on that are going to bother you. So I want you to now kind of talk about your program and how you've designed it, specifically for TBI.
Yeah, and a lot of what you just shared is what we take into consideration, and actually came out of the pilot study qualitative results, where people shared it's hard to have music with words. It's hard to have lights. So we encourage people to wear sunglasses in class, or to position the class in a way that they're away from windows or too bright natural light. But kind of to back up, so the way that the curriculum is designed, so it's a 6-week series that's free for people with TBI and their caregivers or support people. And the curriculum is designed based on the science of resilience. So each class is themed around a factor that has been empirically shown to promote resilience. And there's this fantastic book called Resilience, the Science of Mastering Life's Greatest Challenges by Stephen Southwick and Dennis Charney, who are two psychiatrists that work as part of the VA system, who did really fascinating research where they interviewed people who had experienced complex trauma and who also exhibited these resilience characteristics, what made them resilient, and came up with these 10 factors that they attribute the quality of resilience. So for instance, this could be one of them is cognitive flexibility. So being able to reappraise a situation where you see that something is not working really well, how do you reframe that to either find something positive in it, but also let go of the same strategy that's not working and find a workaround? Or something as simple as physical fitness. So having some sort of physical exercise routine does help with generating different physiological changes that promote your ability to be resilient, to bounce back from any sort of stress. So each class has a resilience theme that it's designed around. And then the structure is similar. So they're 90 minutes. The first 10 minutes includes breathing exercises as a way to help cultivate focus and also bring the kind of nervous system down to a level of more relaxation. Then we have 45 minutes of gentle yoga. In yoga terminology, it's called asana, which is the physical practice. And that has a specific structure that includes modifications to some of the poses that you were talking about that can provoke balance challenges or cause headaches. So a lot of support around, so in child's pose sometimes, which is where you're on the ground on all fours, but you're positioned so your arms are forward and your head is on the ground. Support under the forehead, because sometimes pressure can be challenging for people with TBI. So having support structures for the head. So after that 45 minutes, then we have 15 minutes of guided meditation. And the guided meditation touches on the theme of the class. And we integrate a couple different styles to expose people to some different styles of meditation practice, like mindfulness, loving kindness, a progressive relaxation that's helpful if people have sleep disturbance issues, a guided color meditation that uses some visualization. And then really what's exciting about our program and quite unique about it is the last 20 minutes is a facilitated discussion that again touches on the theme of the class and is really designed for a couple of purposes. One, to educate people about certain tools that they can use for different aspects of their healing process. So for instance, we do a mindfulness eating exercise so people learn more tangibly what mindfulness is. We also do exercises that really are just meant to help people connect and build relationships, since isolation is such a common challenge post-TBI, both for caregivers and people with TBI, a way of just helping people build relationships that will hopefully be sustained after the series is over. And really, so those are really the two ways that we weave different objectives into our discussion. But that's where people have this really beautiful opportunity to mentor each other, to share what's worked for them, and to learn from each other. So when I teach it, that's my favorite part, because you just get to see the spirit of people come out.
And, talk a little bit about meditation, and how you're finding the benefit of meditation for people with TBI.
So one thing that Kevin often talks about whenever we launch a program, we usually do a big community event to bring people together and talk about the program. And he's always sharing how meditation is not about stopping your thoughts, and how for him that was a big learning when he was learning meditation, because for all of us, that's the way our brain is designed, is to have thoughts. But I think especially with TBI and in his experience, he had a lot of what he calls automatic negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So meditation is a practice of learning how to have a different relationship with your thoughts. So to create more space where instead of just reacting and getting caught up in the cycle of thinking, you can learn practices that create a little bit more space. So one kind of framework are focus, attention, mindfulness practices. So we do a lot of these where you focus on one thing, and your breath is a very intuitive and natural thing to focus on. So we invite and use a lot of techniques to support people to focus on their breath, and then also certain techniques like counting your inhales, counting your exhales adds a little bit more focus to help people who have a particularly kind of bouncy mind, as I say.
Yeah.
And so I think it can help from a perspective of building concentration, which is often compromised. Also reducing stress. If you have a way to kind of click reset, take yourself away from a stressful situation. And we're finding that people describe that they're better able to regulate their emotions this way. So if they're caught in an anxious state, just take a couple rounds of deep breaths. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of really great science that shows when you take big inhales and long, slow exhales, your exhalation is tied to your parasympathetic nervous system. So it does initiate a relaxation response. So we try and weave many different methods, and also use techniques that are more visualization based as a way of promoting some sort of emotion. So if we want to support people to feel more of a sense of self-love, there's great meditations based on the loving kindness practice, where you send a sense of love and kindness outwards to other people in the world and create a sense of altruism, and then you end up sending it to yourself, so you can kind of build a sense of self-love and self-worth just through that practice.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important in any type of recovery, but I think particularly with TBI, there is a lot of, like what Kevin says, like, you can quickly go to those negative thoughts. Like, I'm never going to get better. This sucks. I feel like crap. And you never will get better if you continue having those thoughts, right? Like, it's impossible to go here when your thoughts are here. And that meditation really is a great way. And getting in tune with what you're thinking and consciously switching those thoughts from the negative to the positive. I'm a huge believer in the positive thinking. And the breath, that was huge for me because I had dislocated my sternum. So I couldn't take those big, deep diaphragm breaths. Like I was literally breathing to here. Mm-hmm. And when I finally could get those breaths back, I noticed a huge difference in my cognitive and my memory, because that oxygen, you need that oxygen going to your brain to help repair your brain. Yeah.
I read a great statistic that the brain is 2% of your body mass, but requires 20% of your oxygen intake to function. So you're right. Efficient oxygenation of the brain is so critical.
Yes. And I remember my yoga instructor, when she was helping me, I hadn't even realized my breaths were so shallow. And she was trying to get me to get to my deep breath. And I'm like, I can't. And she's like, really? And I was like, I can't. And it took a lot of work of retraining my body and, getting past all that scar tissue. That was fascinating to me when I realized I wasn't breathing deeply.
Yeah. And I think that's a shared experience that most people don't think about their breath because it's part of our
automatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We just take it for granted. So when we do bring conscious effort to it, it's amazing what effects people can experience. And one thing that we do hear a lot in our program is that people, for the first time, are learning how to breathe and are really seeing how that can be this reset opportunity in times of stress and in times of getting flustered for forgetting where something is. They can just and have that be kind of an internal reset.
Yeah. And I know, like, if I start having some anxiety creep in, I just kind of like center myself and like just breathe. And even I might throw some arm work into it, to get the blood moving and flowing. And it can take, I wouldn't say it gets rid of my anxiety, but it definitely takes it down a few notches.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also one thing that is really powerful about yoga. And sometimes we have people ask, what's the difference between going to a stretching class or PT versus a yoga class? And yoga is really this mindful integration of breath and movement. And so when you're focused on aligning your movement with breath, it just adds this additional cognitive piece of focusing and coordinating. And you're not only aware of, from a proprioception point of view, where your movement is, but you're also connecting from an interoception perspective of what it feels like to breathe in the moment. So your brain is really, really being activated and integrating different functions. So it's really, the breath is such a critical piece in a yoga class, which also makes it really wonderful because you can move very subtly. So it's not about how big you move or how big the stretch is, but it's just about that alignment of breath and movement. How subtly, works for you.
And I had written a piece for Yoga Life magazine, and they had some pictures. I did some pictures for him just to show my tree pose. I literally stood, held onto a chair, and lifted my leg. That was all I could do. I couldn't even get my hand out or anything. Then eventually I got my hand out and lifted my leg. Then eventually I kind of quit holding onto the chair, tested it. And then eventually I was able to get into the full standing tree pose. But it took time and patience. And I think that's what I want people to understand is you don't have to do the full pose. I mean, there's yoga out there for people in wheelchairs. There's yoga for people that are bedridden. A lot of the PT exercises you do are yoga poses. I think a lot of people don't even realize that. Yoga is just really powerful. Just getting your body moving, getting the breath connected to the body movements, I think is what's so critical in the yoga.
Absolutely. And I think one thing that can sometimes be hard, and we just hear feedback from people in our program, is the way that the medical system is set up is that there's often these external objectives imposed on people for what progress should look like, which is understandable.
Right.
To have kind of, you need to be balancing to X degree, or you need to have stamina to X%, which creates this kind of incredibly goal-oriented metric and system where you're constantly self-judging yourself. So with yoga, we really are trying to shift that paradigm away from this, you need to get to somewhere, versus let this be an opportunity to explore how it feels to move, explore what feels good, what doesn't feel good. How can you back up? Where is your edge of balance? Just let it be an opportunity to understand yourself more, and both have a sense of kind of a realistic sense of where there's opportunity to kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone, but not from a place of needing to get anywhere necessarily.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. And, you know, in the beginning, I just needed to get moving again. I had spent over a year like not doing anything, like even carrying in groceries from the car was like a workout, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to get moving or I'll never get better, right? Like if you don't move your body, you start to lose all of your mechanisms, right? And I think that's, like I said, I reached out to my yoga teacher and she helped me figure out what I could do. And there wasn't a lot I could do, but I did those 5 poses every day. And it took me like 10 minutes. It didn't take me long. And then, you know, just gradually you start to notice you can, oh, maybe I can get my arms higher today. And it's kind of exciting when you do start to see those changes. And I agree with what you're saying about how sometimes doctors or PT, that they kind of almost push you too hard. And I think there's a fine line between pushing someone a little bit too hard and just pushing someone to try a little harder. Does that make sense? Like there's this fine line there.
Yeah, it totally does. And I think we really come from a place of wanting to empower people to push themselves and to see those places where they can feel a sense of accomplishment, but really let that be self-directed from a place of them choosing what that line is.
Yeah.
It's been really amazing, because I think like what you're describing is to see yourself feel this progression, and then to experience it in a group setting where you see other people finding this progression, and you see kind of where you are in this grand spectrum of some people will be doing it better, some people, well, not better, but differently, more advanced maybe, or and then some people will do it in a more simple fashion. So I think people in that group setting of our program really learn to not judge themselves for not being a certain way, and to really see what they are accomplishing as something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, like someone in your class might not be able to stand up unassisted, right? And so you're watching them do stuff, and that's inspiring to you because I can stand up on my own. So I should be able to do it, you know, like it's inspiring, and it kind of, I can see where it keeps everybody going, because they see all the different levels of where people are at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you see Love Your Brain going? Where do you see the yoga program going? I have a couple questions, I guess. So presently you do teach other yoga instructors how to teach the Love Your Brain yoga program.
Yes.
And then those yoga studios offer either no cost or low cost.
Yeah.
So can you kind of get into some of that?
Yeah, I'll unpack that a little bit. So how we roll out our program is, so we look to identify, so we were very intentional about wanting our program to be based at yoga studios instead of clinical facilities. So we're seeing yoga studios as a catalyst for community reintegration, for supporting people that are back in their community but may have a lack of resources to be able to come together at a yoga studio, practice together, and have that be a place to feel connected to their community. So we identify yoga studios that are already committed to offering inclusive yoga or see the value of offering yoga for healing purposes. And then once we align with that studio, we offer our training, which teaches their teachers how to implement our program, but it's also open to other teachers who are just interested in learning techniques for adapting yoga, meditation, and breathing pranayama for TBI. Then once we partner with those studios, we offer our 6-week series, which is free for participants, but we actually pay teachers to offer it. And then the nice thing too is once somebody goes through our 6-week series, which is called our Fundamentals series, to help people sustain their practice, we have an arrangement with studios where they offer existing gentle yoga classes taught by teachers who have gone through our training as Love Your Brain friendly. So those are at a discounted rate for people that go through our program, where they can take a gentle yoga class for $5 as a way to help them still stay connected with the studio.
That's awesome.
So it's been amazing, and we've just had the extreme privilege of partnering with truly amazing yoga studios. So right now we have, I believe, 18 partners across 12 US states, and now we just opened in Ottawa and we'll be opening in Toronto.
Awesome.
And it's just been this wonderful catalyst for bringing together people that have been affected by TBI or really deeply care about making yoga accessible. And, you know, we have teachers, our Ottawa program is a really beautiful example. We have a teacher, her name's Kate Dury. She had a TBI several years ago and is this really talented yoga teacher and has really tirelessly been working towards bringing Love Your Brain to her city. So she brought 3 of her teachers from her studio, educated them about the importance of the program. They came to our training and now they're delivering it in Ottawa. So we have just really incredible people that are partnering with us. And I think to your point about where we see things going, we're just trying to mindfully expand in alignment with studios that we really trust and see deeply committed to our, hopefully, movement.
Mm-hmm.
And right now the plan is to be in 25 US states by 2019. And we also really rely on partnering with clinical facilities to help refer some of their outpatients or patients they think are eligible to the program. And I'll just share that our original program started in New Hampshire, and we've just had such a wonderful relationship with Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center, whose clinicians have really taken on a role of advocating for their patients to access our program, and it's flourishing really due to their efforts. And yeah, Katie Weathers is a PT there who's just fabulous. So we see our program as bringing together communities that are already in the TBI space, like brain injury alliances and associations, clinical facilities, and studios.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's such a great concept. And do you have it in Minneapolis yet?
We don't. And I think, so Kim, my colleague Kim Baker, who's the director of implementation for our program and really spearheads our outreach, I think she had maybe some conversations with who is the person co-leading the summit with you?
Jeremy?
Yeah, I think she may have.
Yeah, you're right. He does want to get it in his clinic. That's right.
So
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah, so let's make it happen.
Green. Oh yeah. So, you know, how can someone find if it is in their city or near them? Is that on your website?
Yes. So our website has all of our partner studios, and then also in the sign up page so we manage all communications with people who sign up. So studios don't have to manage that process. So if you're interested in our program, you can find out if there's a program in your state by just going to our sign up page. And also, if you're interested in partnering with us or you know a good studio, we have a application, a studio application on our website, or you can just email us and we'll definitely happily talk to you about ways to collaborate.
Yeah, this is so great. I'm so glad you were here today and to talk about TBI and meditation and breathing. And you also have a free gift for everyone watching. You have a free meditation that everyone can download called Move into Ease Meditation. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So this meditation is a really nice introduction to meditation because it does use a little bit of movement where the process is you are guided to gently, very gently kind of tense different parts of your body and then relax them. And it's a helpful way to just bring your awareness more within your body, stay focused on the practice, and invoke a sense of deeper calm when you can notice the difference between a little bit of tension and more relaxation. So it's a short practice. I think it's about 8 minutes. It's really nice before you go to bed or really at any time, but it's a nice example of some of the free meditations we have on our website that we try and make accessible to anyone who's interested, especially in areas where we don't have a program yet.
Yeah, and if people follow you on Facebook on the Love Your Brain page, I see you're always posting meditations and just cool information on there. So I'll have all the links below this video so everyone can grab that meditation and find your Facebook page.
Oh, thank you, Amy.
So is there anything, any final thoughts, any words of wisdom you want to leave everyone with?
Just that I encourage people to try yoga. It's definitely a practice that's changed my life. It's not just about anyone who's had a TBI. I think anyone can benefit from a little bit of space to just reflect, move, find their center, and not make it so complicated. So life can be so complicating. So yoga is a nice way of just simplifying things. So if anyone has questions, I'm always happy to answer them, as well as others on my team who have helped develop this program. It's certainly not just me. So Kim Baker and Adam Pierce and the rest of the Love Your Brain team are definitely here for you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being here. This has just been lovely chatting with you. And, I hope that everyone watching will consider seeing if there's a Love Your Brain yoga program in your area. And just really, if you're not comfortable trying yoga, start with some meditation, some mindful breathing. I promise you will like it. It's not as scary as you think it might be. And I also think, you touched on a really good point earlier about caregivers and how, meditation and yoga can be really helpful for the caregiver too, because caregivers have to take care of themselves too.
Yes.
They're often overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Kyla. Thank you all for watching. And just remember, you are not alone in brain injury. And if you've missed any of the presentations or you want to grab the recordings so that you can watch this over and over again, you can get all the recordings for $29 with proceeds going to the Brain Injury Association of America. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure.